What's going on, guys? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to 13 German worker rights Americans wouldn't believe are real. I don't think Americans would believe a single worker right is real because we don't have any over here. But this is a completely new topic. I know that there's like a month of vacation mandated throughout Europe, but specific to Germany, what are some worker rights that you guys have that we don't have, that maybe other countries in Europe don't have? This is all going to be completely new to me. And today I'm going to get a glimpse of what some of your lives are like. You guys watching this video, working in Germany, you guys have the good life. It seems like high taxes in Germany, yes, but you see how the country function. I mean, well, some things are, not doing the best right now, but Germany is a very clean and efficient country. Despite the trains, I know it's a mess. It's still a fantastic place to live and a premier destination for tourists and people looking to leave their country, like a lot of Americans. So it's let's see what some of these worker rights are, guys. Before we get into it, if you want the Met Brötchen shirt, first link in the description. In the next week or so, I'm going to be dropping some new stuff over there, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Thank you to everyone who has purchased stuff already. No pressure if you don't want to buy anything. Let's get right into this, guys. Here we go.
In Germany, workers get paid to stay home when they're sick, can't be fired without a mountain of legal paperwork, and by law are forbidden from working on Sundays. And that's just the beginning. Because while Americans are debating whether they deserve a single paid day off, German employees are protected by a system so thorough, it sounds like fiction. These aren't perks offered by generous companies. They're laws.
I'm sorry, we didn't even start the video. They said you can't legally work on Sunday. You can work any day in the US. They might put you to work Sunday. And then you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork to fire someone. My friend, I'm not going to give any info out, but he recently got fired unjustly completely. They said on the spot, "You're done." And he was supposed to leave the company later in time, but they said, "No, you're done right now." So already we're seeing complete, oh my God, I'm sorry.
And once you see what German workers take for granted every single day, you'll start wondering why the rest of the world hasn't caught up. The first right on this list alone would change everything most Americans think they know about work. In Germany, every employee is legally guaranteed a minimum of 20 paid vacation days per year. That is 4 full weeks, and it is the floor, not the ceiling. Most companies actually offer between 25 and 30 days, and that is before you even count the public holidays piled on top. Depending on which German state you work in, you could be looking at 9 to 13 additional public holidays layered onto your already generous leave. Compare that to the United States, where there is no federal law requiring employers to give a single paid vacation day. 0, not 1.
For those of you who want to know, though, what companies offer American employees, usually it's between 7 and 10 paid days off. And sick days are not paid. You just have the day off, from what I've heard. And we have a limited amount of sick days. It's only like 2 a year for most companies. Whereas in Germany, I'm pretty sure you guys got unlimited sick days. But oh my God, all these bank holidays, 25 to 30 days, like paid days off. That's not even counting weekends. I mean, you guys can be on holiday forever. Wow.
In America, paid time off is a benefit, something companies offer to attract talent. Many workers, especially in hourly and service jobs, get nothing at all. In Germany, it is a basic human right baked into federal law. Here is another detail that catches people off guard. German law actually requires that at least one block of your vacation be 12 consecutive working days. The rule is meant to guarantee real, uninterrupted time away. The idea is that real rest does not happen in scattered long weekends. You need actual time away to recharge.
Yeah.
The system is built on the belief that vacation is not a reward for hard work. It is a necessary part of staying healthy and productive. And if you think that is generous, wait until you hear what happens when a German worker gets sick. Here's where it gets wild. In Germany, If you fall ill, you don't have to drag yourself to the office pretending you're fine. You stay home, you recover, and your employer pays you 100% of your salary for the first 6 weeks.
6 weeks. 6 weeks. If you were gone from your job for 6 days in the United States, sick, they would start, thinking, oh, we got some more candidates for this role. I don't know. This guy's been gone for a while. Promise you. This is why so many Americans go into work sick, because of the fear of being replaced. They know that they're a cog in the system, very replaceable. There's a lot of people wanting to work over here. But also that mandated 12 consecutive vacation day thing, what a great idea. And it's so true. Vacation, the way we view it in the US is so unhealthy. It's not like a reward, like, oh, you worked really hard, now you can take 5 days off and go, get messed up and party. That's not real vacation. You know what I'm saying? That's fun, but is it gonna leave you feeling recharged and relaxed? No. So they're really they're saying, no, you have to rest. I just love that. That's a great way to take care of your people, for real.
Not 70%, not half, full pay. After those 6 weeks, your health insurance kicks in and continues paying a significant portion of your salary for up to 78 weeks. And here's the part that really breaks American brains.
70%. Bro.
8 weeks. And here's the part that really breaks American brains. If you get sick with something new, a completely different illness, the 6-week clock resets. You get another full 6 weeks of employer-paid leave for each separate condition.
Yo.
There is no annual cap on how many times this can happen. In the US, most workers dread calling in sick because they either don't have paid sick days or they are terrified of being seen as unreliable. In Germany, taking time off to recover isn't just accepted, it's expected. And no one looks at you sideways for doing it. But it gets even better. Let us say you are on vacation, lying on a beach somewhere in Spain, and you catch a nasty flu. In America, that is just bad luck. Your vacation is ruined, and those days are gone. In Germany, those sick days do not count as vacation. As long as you get a doctor's note, your employer has to credit those lost vacation days back to you. You read that right. If you are sick during your time off, you get those days returned, because vacation is meant for rest and recovery, not suffering through an illness.
That is unbelievable. My brain can't really understand that. Seriously. But what's crazy? I'm sure there's studies on this, but the more vacation days you give, maybe employees are getting sick less because they're not overworked, exhausted, burnt out. They're getting the proper relaxation and balancing their life and the job. So since we're just constantly overworking everyone, people are getting sick more, and then they're coming into work sick, and then it's just wow.
It is a concept that feels almost absurd to anyone outside of Germany, but to German workers, it is just common sense. Now let's talk about something that would send shockwaves through every American office. In Germany, your boss can't just walk up to your desk, hand you a box, and tell you to leave. Firing someone in Germany is one of the most regulated processes in the entire working world. The Protection Against Dismissal Act gives workers strong protection. It makes it incredibly difficult for employers to terminate workers without solid documented reasons. If a company has more than 10 employees and the worker has been there longer than 6 months, termination has to be socially justified. That means the employer has to prove one of 3 things. The employee did something seriously wrong. The employee is personally unable to perform the job, or there is a genuine business need that eliminates the position. And even then, the process is layered with requirements. The employer has to consider factors like the worker's age, how long they have worked there, whether they have a family to support, and even whether they have a disability. Try doing that in most American states, where employment is at will. meaning you
It sounds almost impossible to fire someone in Germany.
can be let go for almost any reason at any time without warning. No explanation needed. No process required.
Nope.
One morning, you are at your desk, and by lunch, you are clearing out your things.
This happened to my friend 5 days ago, guys. He called me. You know, he'd been working his ass off for this company, and he's moving to a new company. And they tried to get him to stay. He said, "No, I'm not staying." They literally like just bombarded him every day, calling him, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're going to leave? Are you sure?" Even though he had told them in the past that he's going to leave, completely respectfully, right? He says, "No." Next thing you know, upper head from corporate calls him, says, "You're done. You can leave today." Because they didn't want him, since he's leaving, they didn't want him saying anything bad to his coworkers. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying, guys. There's no loyalty. There's no heart. There's nothing. It's completely soulless over here in corporate America. And he's working for a big corporation. So, yeah, it's disgusting. You can't, how can you treat someone like that worked for you for a year, a full year, and he just gets like that, gone? Like, this country is just a shithole, really, when it comes to working. And a lot of other things.
In Germany, that kind of system would be illegal. And even when a German employer does have legitimate grounds for termination, the notice periods are long. An employee who has been with a company for 2 years gets at least 1 month's notice. After 20 years, that notice period stretches to 7 months.
7? Okay, yeah.
The entire system is designed around the idea that a job is not something that should disappear overnight.
Yes.
And there's a reason firing someone is so hard, because German workers have something most Americans have never even heard of, and it might be the most powerful labor right in Europe. It's called a works council, and it fundamentally changes the relationship between employees and management. In any German company with 5 or more permanent employees, workers have the legal right to elect a works council. This is not a union. It is something different entirely.
That's what I was thinking.
A works council is an elected body of employees that has co-determination rights, meaning management literally cannot make certain decisions without consulting them first. Want to change the work schedule? The works council has to agree. Planning to install software that monitors employee activity? You need the works council's approval. Thinking about laying off—
Oh my God, another friend working at a place, they have software that they literally are watching his computer screen at work. Everything he does, they're watching it. Guys, what is happening? You know, and this is opening my eyes, which is crazy because I'm already, like, I would say decently knowledgeable about Germany and Europe and the workers' rights that exist. But imagine the average American who does no knowledge, which is the most of Americans. Like, we don't even realize how badly we're getting shafted, which is why we keep allowing ourselves to get shafted. And you know, like, what?
Employee activity?
Bro.
You need the works council's approval. Thinking about laying off staff? You have to inform the works council before issuing a single termination letter. And if you skip this step, the termination is automatically void.
Wow.
It does not matter how justified the firing was. If the works council was not consulted, the whole thing is invalid. For American companies entering the German market, this is usually the first culture shock. The idea that employees have a legal seat at the decision-making table feels like stepping into a parallel universe. But in Germany, it has been the law for decades. And works council members themselves cannot be fired through ordinary termination. They are protected during their entire term and for a full year after it ends. Trying to obstruct or retaliate against employees forming a works council is not just frowned upon in Germany. It is a criminal offense that can land an employer in jail. Now let's move to something that affects every single Sunday.
This whole works council thing is like some of the other stuff you guys will probably understand. I've heard of it before. But that I never had heard of before. I never knew that. Wow. I want to watch a video fully on work councils because I have a lot of thoughts and questions about it. Like what's the work council like? Do they get paid? Who are they? What's that really like? Like, I want to hear some experience. We got to save it for another video though, because it's gonna go on
in
forever.
Germany. By law,
Yo,
most employees are
this is
banned from
crazy.
working on Sundays and public holidays.
God.
This is not a suggestion or a cultural norm. It is federal law under the Working Time Act. The idea is that Sundays are reserved for rest, family, and personal time, and the government protects that boundary with real legal force. There are exceptions for essential services like hospitals, police, and transportation.
Okay.
But even those workers must receive a replacement rest day soon afterward. At least 15 Sundays per year must be kept completely free of work. No exceptions.
Wow.
In America, Sunday is just another workday for millions of people in retail, food service, and gig work. In Germany, the streets go quiet on Sundays. Most shops close. Supermarkets shut their doors. Even most gas station convenience stores operate on reduced hours. The pace of life slows down deliberately because the law says it should. Visitors from the US often get caught off guard the first time they try to grab groceries on a Sunday afternoon and find every store locked up tight. To Americans, it feels inconvenient. To Germans, it feels like freedom, a guaranteed day where work cannot reach you no matter what your boss wants. And the protections don't stop when the workday ends. German law requires a minimum rest period of 11 uninterrupted hours between shifts. If you clock out at 10 in the evening, your employer cannot legally ask you to start again before 9 the next morning. This is not a guideline employers try to follow. It is a strict legal mandate designed to protect workers from burnout and exhaustion.
Yeah, guys, what if you're working 2 jobs? Is that a way to bypass that legal mandate, 11 hours in Germany? There's a lot of people working 2 jobs or even 3 sometimes in the United States because they have to make ends meet and they're doing minimum wage work. They have children. So yeah, a lot of people working within 11 hours between shifts, 100%. Oh my God. And also the only reason why Sundays with nothing open feels like an inconvenience to Americans is because we don't understand what freedom really is. Like we think freedom is, we can get anything at any time. You realize that people have to work for that to be the case. But as long as it's not you working, it doesn't matter, right? That's the mentality here. So sad. You know what, guys? I would have loved to see American CEO or businessman for a company coming over here trying to expand into Germany and then finding out, oh, wait, employees have actual power? Oh yeah, we can't do that. That probably happened to Walmart. It probably happened to a bunch of corporations that came to Germany. I wish that like there was a video or I could see like some type of clip of the meeting when the Americans first found out about these worker rights in Germany. Do you know how funny their reaction? What? Listen, I'm happy for you guys though. I'm really happy. Y'all deserve, like, this is how things should be. So I'm glad that at least someone's doing it right. Germany's doing it right for the workers for sure.
On top of that, the regular workday is capped at 8 hours. And while it can be extended to 10 hours in certain situations, that extra time has to be compensated with time off within a set period. The overall weekly maximum is 48 hours. And going
Oh my God. First of all, 8-hour shift is like the norm, almost considered the minimum in the United States. 48 hours a week. Really? We got people working 70, 80 hours a week. However, this is always a contested number in my mind because Americans love to say, oh, I'm working so much. I'm working way harder than you. Oh, you're working 90 hours a week? I'm working 100. First of all, the human mind cannot be productive for that amount of time. You could argue it can't be productive for 40 hours a week. That's a long time. Like, you know what I mean? You're not just going to be wiring things through unless you're cracked out on Adderall all day. No one's going to be doing that normally, you know? So, and also that's a whole different argument about, people using Adderall who don't have ADHD for the productivity because they're rats, a rat race in the US. Guys, we need to do more videos on this because I got so much more to say, but I need to keep it. Otherwise, it's gonna go forever.
minimum is 48 hours, and going beyond that is tightly regulated.
That's so
In a
good.
country like the United States, where hustle culture glorifies 60-hour and 70-hour work weeks, Germany's approach feels almost radical. But the results speak for themselves. German workers are among the most productive in Europe while working fewer hours than most of their neighbors. Now let's talk about what
The beer gardens, the bike rides in Bavaria, you guys are living it up. Do you know how peaceful this looks? Holy shit. I don't even know if that's Bavaria. It looks like it though. Like, do you know how dumb it is to be like, oh yeah, I'm working 70 hours a week. I'm so busy. I'm getting so much money. Bro, you have no time. You have no life. It's not a flex. Like, we have made it a flex in our minds to be like, oh yeah, I'm working harder than you. What is up with that, guys? It's so unhealthy.
happens when a German worker starts a family, because this is where the gap between Germany and America becomes almost impossible to believe. German parents are entitled to up to 3 years of parental leave per child. 3 years. During that time, their job is legally protected. The employer has to keep their position or an equivalent role available for when they return.
3.
Both mothers and fathers can take this leave, either together or separately, and they can even split it up, saving a portion of those months for later years when the child is older. On top of that, the government pays a parental allowance during the first 12 to 14 months, covering roughly 65% of the parent's previous income. In the United States, the only federal guarantee is 12 weeks of unpaid leave under the Family and Medical Leave Act.
Jesus Christ. Oh yeah. FMLA. I've literally heard of that as well. And I don't even work for these corporations. Guys, thank you so much for watching the videos. Please keep watching. If I get an office job, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm really not. I can't. It's not for me, bro. But like, do you hear that? We get what, 12 weeks of unpaid leave? That's a slap in the face. That's nothing. That's just like, oh yeah, you can keep your job if you really want it, if you like work for it. That's why we got people working and they're pregnant and stuff, having babies, can't even raise their kid. Crazy.
Weeks of unpaid leave under the Family.
But that reminds me, like a lot of people, when they have a kid in the US, they just quit their job because the job doesn't allow them to stay. And they, if you really want to be with your kid, you have to quit fully. Like my mom, she made a sacrifice when not when I was growing up, but when I have 2 younger brothers and they're growing up. She used to work full time. She went down to part time so she could be with us more. And that had a massive impact on our lives because our mother is like in our life more. So it's real, like in the US, and she's lucky because she had the flexibility to go down to part-time instead of just not working at all. A lot of people don't have that option. So that was a blessing. But for others, you know what I'm saying? It's either work or don't work. And as a parent, you're probably going to say don't work in a lot of situations. If you have the stability financially, especially there's another partner making money. But if you don't, imagine like a single mother, got to work through it. And that sucks. I really feel for a lot of the parents out here raising kids in the US. It's especially during troubling financial times, awful stuff.
And Medical Leave Act. And that only applies to certain employees at companies with 50 or more workers. Millions of American parents have no legal right to any leave at all. In Germany, the system is designed around the idea that raising a child should not cost you your career. And it does not end with parental leave. Pregnant workers in Germany are shielded by some of the strict protections in the world. Expectant mothers are entitled to 6 weeks of paid leave before the birth and 8 weeks after. That extends to 12 weeks for premature or multiple births. During this entire period, it is illegal to fire a pregnant employee, and that protection continues for 4 months after childbirth. Even getting government approval to terminate a pregnant worker is nearly impossible in practice. Employers also cannot assign pregnant workers to tasks that pose any risk to their health. If a doctor determines that the job itself is a danger, the worker can be placed on a full employment ban with continued pay. In America, pregnancy discrimination is technically illegal, but enforcement is inconsistent, and millions of women return to work within days of giving birth because they simply cannot afford not to. In Germany, the system does not just protect mothers on paper. It enforces that protection with real consequences.
And this is what, like, Germany, we can complain about the bureaucracy and laws, but when it comes to protecting workers, this is when that stuff really kicks in. And I'm sure you guys are grateful for that. Because, like, you can't protect the employees without laws. Otherwise, the corporations are just going to eat into whatever they can. And that's exactly what's happened over here. But listen, think about in Germany. You guys are one of the biggest headliners for this problem coming up in the next few decades. You got a lot of old people, not enough young people. So by subsidizing that, and there's more ways that you guys can do that to encourage people to have children. But this is a good way too. Like, oh yeah, you're not going to lose your job if you have a kid. That's pretty nice. In the US, listen, and this is not just Germany, it's a worldwide issue. The birth rates are declining significantly. They've been down. The US, they're already down. Everyone's like, oh, we're not going to have kids. The world's too messed up. Then you throw into the fact that, oh, you got to work through your childbirth and pregnancy and all that. And you might lose your job. Like, oh, people are definitely not going to have kids now. So we might overtake Germany. I don't know what the rankings are for lack of population in the future, but we're probably going to be up there pretty soon. And I'm giggling at all these things, but that's really just me trying to cope. God, this is sad. This is sad. And I think what I said at the start about people being ignorant and not realizing how bad we have it, that's why they don't call for action or want better for our country. We feel helpless.
Here is one that quietly reshapes the entire work experience in Germany. Every employee has the legal right to receive a written employment contract detailing the exact terms of their job, their salary, working hours, notice periods, and more. This is not just best practice, it is a legal requirement under German law. And when it comes to pay, the country enforces a national minimum wage that is heading toward 15 euros per hour. On top of that, employers are required to contribute to a comprehensive social insurance system covering health insurance, pension, unemployment insurance, long-term care, and accident insurance. These are not optional benefits that vary from company to company. They are mandatory contributions split between the employer and the employee.
Wow.
The system ensures that every worker, regardless of their industry, has access to healthcare, retirement support, and a safety net if they lose their job. For Americans used to employer-dependent health insurance and 401k plans that may or may not exist, the German model can feel like it belongs to a different era entirely.
Yes.
And finally, there is a right that sounds almost too good to be real.
What is that?
German workers who are suffering from severe work-related stress and burnout can take extended medical leave. Under the country's sick leave laws, an employee diagnosed with burnout can receive up to 78 weeks of paid leave to recover.
Up to 78, that's a lot. Wow. What I really need to know about that is how is one diagnosed with burnout? Because that sounds so subjective. Hey, I'm feeling tired. Can I get the sick leave? You know what I mean? They have to be showing physical symptoms? Like, I don't know. But how would you get burnout working in Germany though? How do you guys get burnt out? It feels like everything's so good. But that's great. Listen, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of all of you. And I feel really bad for a lot of people I know that are working and not being treated as well as they should be. 100%.
Weeks of paid leave to recover. The first 6 weeks are covered at full pay by the employer, and after that, health insurance continues paying a substantial portion. The concept of burnout leave is not treated as weakness or laziness. It is recognized as a legitimate medical condition that requires time and space to heal. In a country where the culture already emphasizes boundaries between work and personal life, This policy feels like the natural extension of a system that genuinely values the human behind the employee. And there you have it, 13 worker rights that are completely normal in Germany, but sound like pure fantasy to most Americans. From 4 weeks of guaranteed vacation to 3 years of parental leave. From works councils with real legal power to a system that gives you your vacation days back when you get sick, Germany has built a labor framework that puts the worker first in ways that few other countries can match.
100%. All right, that's the outro. Oh, we got the gate. That was a great video though. Wow. Yeah, no, my mind blown. Absolutely blown. There were a lot of worker rights in here that I had never heard of. I did not realize like how good Germany has it. And again, putting things into law, setting those boundaries, making them legally binding. That's so important. If you don't set the boundaries, if you don't say, this is how we're going to do it, these people need this amount of this and this, that corporate stuff is going to creep in. And I'm not saying capitalism, like I know capitalism has already seeped into Germany and everywhere else, like naturally, and I'm not saying it's a big problem, but like setting those boundaries has made it so that all of these things continue to exist and function in the country. Also, I didn't know you guys had a national minimum wage. I don't think we have that in the United States. And also the fact that I'm not even 100% sure just shows how blessed I am because I'm not working minimum wage. I did in the past and it sucked. I actually got, you know what? Growing up made me realize that a lot of those jobs that I worked in 2 different pizza restaurants and I was a delivery driver. It made me realize that I got absolutely screwed and taken advantage of. I should have been getting paid so much more. Also, I'm a very effective worker. I'm not going to do a lazy job. If I'm working, I'm going to work hard. So I got completely taken advantage of. But you have to be in those positions to grow and realize what you can do and what you should be doing. So this just got me thinking so much. I'm definitely going to spread this knowledge to my fellow Americans. And there have been some wins. I believe a couple of years ago, there was a union for Amazon that, they had a big win. They got more compensation for delivery drivers. And that's exactly what we need to do. It's sad that that has to happen, but listen, this is reality. In the United States, we need more workers to unionize. And it's not easy because listen, once the big boys and C-suite executives start hearing what's going on down below, they say, oh, they're starting to band up together. They're going to be asking for more pay, more benefits, time off. They shut it down. They find out who's spreading this stuff, who's trying to get people to come together, and they cut them out of the picture. They cut them out. So a lot of employees in the United States are afraid to start the movement, to begin to unionize because they think that they're going to get targeted and removed from the company, which does happen. So it's really so dystopian. Like if employers were actually cared, they would let us unionize and ask for better wages and stuff. Because as an employer, if you pay your employees a fair salary or even give them a little raise, they will have more loyalty to the company and productivity will increase. It doesn't have to be this greed black hole where you're just taking the money, sucking the life out of them, and then ditching them as if they never did anything for you. And that's what just happened to my friend. I told you guys. So sad, so sad. Screw these companies. I'm going to start. Hey, someone needs to start something. And I at least I have the knowledge now. So I'm going to definitely spread this. American corporations, beware. I promise you guys, when I come back from Europe this summer into the customs, they're going to have a lot to say to me. I'm going to be in the interrogation room 100% because I sound like an anarchist sometimes. But hey, you need anarchy. You need to burn things down and then build them up correctly. And I don't mean that physically. That's not a threat. But the system needs to be replaced because it's not no one is happy over here with what we got and people deserve better. So I'm glad you guys got a good system in Germany. Let me know what your experience has been like working in Germany with your worker rights and benefits. And especially for those of you working minimum wage in Germany, if you're watching this, please let me know what that's like for you. Because I would love to hear, how far that money gets you, especially with the, built up social systems that already exist. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your understanding. I know I was a bit of a yapper in this one, but I had a lot to get off my chest. So thanks for listening and watching till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.